guess what?
What?
We're gonna go on a road trip.
Yay, road trip!
Guys, what are you doing? You gotta go pack. Come on, we gotta go pack. Road trip. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. You packed? I don't believe it. Hey, hurry up. I'm tired of waiting. Let's go have some fun.
McDonald's, 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 McDonald's.
It's a wonderful world.
Hey there, guys. I have It's a Wonderful World from Lucky Duck Games on the table here. This is a card drafting resource management game in which everyone is going to be dealt one of these Empire cards here. There are 5 of them in the game. There are 2 sides to these cards, the A side and the B side. We recommend playing the A side with non-gamers and novice gamers. The difference between the 2 sides here are that the A side is going to give you some sort of point value for different objects in the game, either certain tokens or certain colors of cards that you might try to get. And so it gives you a little bit of more of a direction, a strategy to play with than just the regular old B side, as it just gives you straight resources. Let me explain how this game works. Like I said, this is a drafting game, and so to begin, everyone is going to get dealt 7 cards face down unless you are playing a 2-player game in which everyone will get 10 cards. And so these cards, let me show you what these look like. They're going to have a number of things on them. There's going to be a name, but really the most important things are what's listed here on the top left. Those are the different resources that it costs to create this card. The number down here in the bottom left, if there is a number, is the number of victory points at the end of the game. So this card's worth 3 points. Anything that's listed here in the bottom border is going to be resources that you will gain during the production step of the game. Anything that's listed above that border in the middle here is a bonus for having constructed this card. So for instance, if I construct this card, I'm going to gain 2 red gems, which these are red gems that you can think of these as kind of like wild resources. And then every turn during the production phase of yellow, you can see yellow there, I will receive 2 yellow cubes. Now, if I don't want to construct this card, I can still use it to some benefit. I can recycle it and earn what is ever listed in this circle on the bottom right. And so in this case, I would receive 1 yellow cube if I simply discarded this card instead of trying to construct it. That's one example. Here's another one and what it might give you. And then, as I said, not all cards give points. Some just give resources. And then even still, let's see if I can't find another different type of card here. Here we go. So this card right here says that you would receive 2 points for every yellow card that you have in your little area. And so this card is yellow because the bottom border here is yellow. And so for every yellow card that you would have constructed, you're going to get 2 points per card. Now, how you're doing this, as I said, you're going to have a deck of cards and you're going to draft. And so that means you're going to take one card that you want to keep, place it face down in front of you, pass the rest of your cards to the player either on your left or the right, depending on what round it is. And then after everybody's done that, you all reveal the card that you chose. Everybody will look around and see what your card is, and then they'll pass the cards, and you'll get your cards from the player sitting next to you, and you'll repeat the process. You will play a card that you want to keep. After everybody's done, you'll reveal, and so on and so forth. And by the end of this, you're going to have 7 cards. And so after the drafting phase, then comes the planning phase. And this is the phase in which you decide if you are going to try and construct it or if you're simply going to gain the recycling bonus. And so again, anything that's listed here in this circle on the right side of the card is what you would receive if you wanted to recycle it. So if I didn't want, let's say this card here, it costs a lot of resources to build, it's going to take me a while, I might just recycle this to receive 1 yellow cube. So I would simply discard it over here and gain 1 yellow cube. And anytime you get resources in this game, you have a choice to make. You either need to put it on one of the cards that are in your construction area. So after you have decided whether you're going to keep a card or recycle it, if you are going to keep it, you actually move it up and you're going to put it in kind of this general area of your playing space. Cards that you're determining whether you want to keep or not are going to be right here. And then when you've decided, yes, I do want to keep that, you're just going to raise it up and put it in this area. And so when you get resources, you have to put them on cards slated for construction. Or if you don't have a space for it, then you have to put it in this area on your Empire card. And as you can see here, once you have any 5 resources on this card, you can change them in for one of those red cubes over there, which again are wild. So for instance, I have a yellow cube here. I might put it right here as I need a yellow cube there to do human cloning. Now I will do that for all of the cards that I drafted that round. Again, moving up any ones that I want to keep. And after everybody's done that, then we will go into production. And production just simply follows this line down the playing board here in the middle. First will be gray. And so we will look over here on our Empire card and see, yes, we received 2 gray cubes. Now, if, for instance, let's say that I did have this card, if I had this card over here and I put 2 gray cubes on it, I can immediately put it over here into my constructed area. Once you have enough resources, you immediately move it over here to your constructed area, and as you can see, you would receive anything listed here as well as this arrow says, anything that's above this going upwards. And so now I would receive 4 gray cubes. And so I take that from this spot right here, 4 gray cubes. And again, I have resources now. I have to immediately lot them onto cards that are slated for construction. And as you can see, I have no gray spots, so I'm going to have to put these gray cubes here on my Empire card. And that's how that works. Now, once you do gray, and you determine who has been given the most gray for that round, they're going to receive a supremacy bonus. And that is listed here on this little icon above the gray pile. And in this case, it's one of these financier tokens. The blue guy is what I like to call them. And these are worth 1 point at the end of the game, at least 1 point. There are some cards that can increase the value of these. But anyhow, whoever had the most gray awarded to them is going to receive this. And you just simply put this over here on your playing board. And you keep track of that way. And then we would go over to black, and so we would see how many black cubes we would get, and in this case I would only get 1, and we would award out the supremacy bonus. This time it's going to be one of these general tokens, which work the same way as the financier tokens, just a different color. And then we would continue down the line doing green, and whoever had supremacy of green is going to get their pick, either blue or red. Then we would do yellow, and then we would do blue. And the trick to this game is the timing of things, because say for instance that I get this card constructed that awards me a yellow cube here, but it happens to be after yellow has already triggered. And we would be on blue, let's say, for instance. Well, I'm not going to get any cubes for that because yellow's already happened this round. And so I want to try to get these cards constructed well before it ever comes to their turn to produce in that round. Otherwise, I'm not going to be getting resources, and I'm also not going to be improving my chances to getting these supremacy bonuses. Now, this continues for 4 rounds. In rounds 1 and 3, you pass your cards clockwise whenever it's drafting time. In rounds 2 and 4, you pass them counterclockwise. And that's how that's going to work. At the end of 4 rounds, you're going to add up all your points that you have on any of your cards, points that you're going to receive based on different types of cards or tokens. You also receive points for your tokens. Whoever has the most points is the winner, and that is how you play It's a Wonderful World. All right, so here's Sam and I doing a 2-player playthrough of It's a Wonderful World. Right now we're going to share our thoughts on this game. I'll go first, and I'll let you guys know that it took me probably 3 turns. This was the first time either Sam and I had ever played this game before, so I do want to let you know that. But it took me about 3 turns before I really started to get in the groove with this game.
And I would agree with that as well.
Yeah, we were not on the right level of thinking in order to really...
You have to mentally prepare yourself for
this
game.
Yeah, you do, because the timing is such a huge part of this game. Timing when you complete those cards so that you're gaining your maximum amount of resources, because those resource piles fire in order: gray, black, green, yellow, blue. And you really need to have that timing down. And it wasn't so much the timing for me. I think it might have been for you the first couple of turns.
Yeah, for sure.
But for me, it was also knowing the right cards to go after and the ones that give you points. Yeah. That's something that I really struggle with in this game.
I feel like this may be a bad analogy, but your brain's like a computer in this game, and you have a lot of files, a lot of tabs open that you have to remember.
Yeah.
And sometimes you forget that one of those tabs are still open.
Right.
And to go back and look at it.
Yeah, closing out those windows I totally get that analogy. And it's a good way of putting it in this game. Now, all that being said, you probably might hear us saying that this isn't a good game when we say these things, but I really like this game.
I did too.
I truly enjoyed it. I'm just saying it took me getting into it. I had to ease my way into it.
And it's not necessarily a complex game either, or too complex. It is on the higher level of thinking, but it's not so complicated that a non-gamer couldn't play it. It just requires focus.
Yeah, it does. It does require focus. It does require you to pay attention to all these cards that are sitting in front of you, as well as all the other cards sitting in front of the other players.
Oh, I never looked at your cards, ever.
And it's funny because Sam beat me, and I don't know how. But you do...
Well, because I wasn't looking at your cards. I was only worried about me.
Yeah. But you do want to, because there is drafting involved in this game, and you want to make sure that you're not just handing over the best cards for your opponent and their strategy that they're obviously going for, because you won't stand a chance. And so with that being said, this is just a thought that I have. I assume this to be true. But I would say that this might be a game, if you're playing with non-gamers, that you want to keep the player count pretty low.
Yeah.
2, maybe 3 players, simply because the more people that you have in this game, the more cards there are on the table. Yeah. And it's just, it can be system overload, like Sam was saying. Too many windows are open.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just can be overwhelming. Would you agree with that, Sam?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. What other thoughts do you have on this game?
I really liked it. This is my type of game, but I didn't see it that way when we first started playing. Card drafting isn't typically my thing, but I really enjoy resource management and things like that. It did take me a little while. I will say, though, I won in this game that you're seeing, and I feel like part of the reason is I wasn't hyper focused on the cards that I got. I could change my game plan a little bit.
Okay.
The second time we played this game, which we will also be reviewing because it's with the expansion, I focused a lot more on the cards that I got, and I ended up losing. And that may be just a coincidence, but I feel like having a little bit of flexibility does help some.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think I understand what you mean, because you can change your strategy so often in the course of this game, I feel like. Or maybe you shouldn't, and that's one reason why I don't do very well in this game. I feel like I'm not very good at this game. But I do think that there are opportunities for you to change your strategy early on, You might start the game off just simply going with whatever your empire card dictates you to go for, right? Like I think I had one that said I got 2 extra points for every green card. And so I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to heavily go into green cards here. But after the first round, if I don't have any green cards, I need to start building an engine towards something else and develop a new strategy. And you can sort of do that with this game, or at least early on.
There's so much to think about when you're drafting your cards as well. Why are you drafting that card? Are you looking at it so you can trade it in at the beginning for a
resource, a recycle bonus?
Yeah, a recycle bonus. Are you using it so that because you know you're going to get a lot of black and gray at the beginning, and it has a lot of black and gray on there, and it's going to get you some green when you get to green? What order does it fall in? What round are you in? I mean, there's just so much. And both times we've played, we get to that 4th round, and I'm like, no, I need it. I wish there was 5 rounds. I wish there was 5 rounds.
Yeah, but see, you get to the 5th round and you'd wish there was 6.
Yeah. It's just one of those games where it really goes fast.
It does go fast. It truly does. There is not much to the rounds, and you feel like you accomplish a lot.
So much, because your brain is just fried.
Yeah. This truly is a brain burner of a game, and I think it's right there at the sweet spot for non-gamers to wrap their mind around, because that's the catch. A lot of these brain burning type of games that gamers out there really love, it can put a non-gamer in overload mode and give them too much that they really care to handle. And I don't feel like It's a Wonderful World is that game. I think it's a game that is just below that at a comfortable, challenging yet maybe manageable level.
Yeah, I don't know if it would be one that I would say, hey honey, come in, you've never really played a board game with me before, let's start with this.
Right. Yeah, I think this is maybe second tier of after you've played some games.
I think they need to understand some basic more complex mechanics.
So with that being said, let's talk about what are maybe some other games out there that would be good games to start off playing with a non-gamer leading into this type of game. I think there's going to be one right on Sam's mind. What is that, Sam?
Splendor.
Absolutely. That's what I was thinking too. But
yeah, it really is.
Yeah,
I mean,
it has that same sort of feel, and it has that same sort of idea that you use these cards to help you to get resources that help you to get other cards, which is found in a lot of games. But Splendor is definitely kind of the gateway game of all the games out there that are like this. And I think that would be a good one to start off trying. For sure. And then working your way up to this.
Another one I would say would be a good starting point would be Gizmos.
Yeah, absolutely. Gizmos definitely has that same sort of mechanic of getting action cards to add to your actions. Then each time you take that action, it gives you something more than it did before.
This game just feels more, just a higher level.
Deeper game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we've talked a lot about this game, and so I think that might give you a clue as far as what we're going to rate it. But let's get into the ratings. Sam, scale of 1 to 10, love to hate. What do you give this game?
I'm going to give this an 8.8.
Wow, 8.8. That's really high, high.
The fact that I want to play it again.
Okay, all right. I think I would give this game probably an 8.2. So I do really like it, maybe not as high as you. And that's simply because I'm not very good at this game. If I get better, I'll give it a better review.
Yeah.
All right. So Sam, is this a game that you would recommend playing with non-gamers?
I mean, I'm going to say this is going to be a hit or miss. You got to know your non-gamer.
Right.
Maybe. I think it's a fun game, and it's not as complicated as maybe we may make it sound to be. Definitely there's other games to start with. But you're going to have to read the room.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It might work very well for you like it did for Sam. It might be a miss as well, though. And that's something you do have to be mindful of.
Yeah.
All right, well, if you liked this game, consider checking out the link in the description of the video where it will take you to a place where you can buy it. If you like this video, consider liking and subscribing. We're Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.